I'll lower it down.
Hey, 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 hey!
Hello, everyone. We're on mute, but that was Chelsea throwing her phone. But I was getting some ideas from some of the books because, you know, we still don't know what to cook next week, so we're throwing out some ideas. You know, we actually eat, sometimes we eat breakfast for dinner. Who else does that, you know?
We do.
Yeah.
But also, it's, you know, November, so if anyone wants us to do a Thanksgiving dish, we could definitely do that. Again, we can't do a turkey because we would be here for a very long time. I can go over... I know someone was watching us a few weeks ago, and I talked about my turkey recipe, and they wanted it. So if you do want my turkey recipe, you can message us on social media outlets, and I'll let you know. It's not something I'm going to make public because we do sell my turkeys for Thanksgiving, but it is really good turkey recipe that is brined, basted, and stuffed, and it is just like really good. And I use a lot of white wine, and I baste the turkey with white wine and butter, which is kind of like the trick. I don't do turkeys with like actual stuffing in it. So did you know that some people make like a whole turkey?
A turducken.
No, well, people do that too. But people like make their stuffing inside the cavity of the turkey.
Before?
No, like while it cooks, their stuffing cooks inside the cavity. I don't, that's not what I meant by like stuffed. I stuff it with aromatics, oranges, celery, carrots, onion, thyme, but I don't make the stuffing inside the turkey because it's usually not that much stuffing, to be honest.
Should I take out that starting scene?
Oh, yeah! Do you know how to do it? Boop!
There
Okay.
we go.
Well, now we're officially started. The turkey rant is finished. So, what are we making?
We are making the El Camino.
El Camino, it was brought to us by AYEBEARGAMER, which we put this recipe a few weeks ago, but I forgot to get the cilantro, which is like basically what makes this drink. So, okay, you're gonna do the cocktail, babe. It's all you, but I'm gonna tell you what to do. So this is what is this called?
Pesto mortar.
Yes, and we are going to take a few slices of jalapeno. So go ahead and slice up a few slices of jalapeno, depending on the spice. Oh, don't slice it that way. Slice it like that, yeah. Good. Into the circle rounds. If you don't want it spicy, then don't get any seeds in it. If you want it to have a kick, then get a few seeds in here. We're not going to drink the seeds. We're going to strain it. So we'll start with that. I think we should get... How spicy is this jalapeno? You want to try it?
Try it.
It's not spicy at all. Yeah, I would add like at least 2 seeds. That's perfect. You want it to have a kick, right? I think it needs to have a kick for it to be called the El Camino. Okay, now you are going to take a pinch of cilantro and... No, not all of that. A pinch. Like, yeah, like that. That's a pinch. But we're making 2 cocktails, so do 2 pinches. Why are you laughing at me? Okay. Now you're going to muddle it up together. Do you want me to pour the booze while you muddle, or do you want to do it all?
Yeah, pour the booze.
Pour the booze, he says. So 1 ounce of Cointreau, which is just an orange liqueur, and we have this orange liqueur, so we're going to use agave. I don't even know how to pronounce that, but it's going to be good. But it is an orange liqueur. It's nice. You can find it right next to the Cointreau. All right, and then we need tequila. Right?
Yes. Tequila, fresh lime. We need to cut this lime.
And we need 1 ounce of lime per cocktail. So we need 2 ounces of lime.
Maybe 2 limes.
So we may need 2 limes. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I do know that one of the followers and viewers that we have made this cocktail a few weeks ago, and she loved it. And we've actually made it since, and it's very good. But we wanted to make it live.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you're gonna need all the lime. So it's about a half an ounce. So perfect. And then it says a few dashes of bitters, which we'll add now. So 1, 2 for you. 1, 2 for me. I like bitters. I like orange bitters. This is not.
Yeah, we didn't add the bitters till the end. It was
bitter. No. I'm just kidding. It wasn't that bad. Oh, and I wanted to tell people, if you guys are, hi Mom, we know you're watching. Hello. Thank you. I did wanted to tell anyone who's watching tonight and does not have a partner to help cook with them, if you're watching now, I would recommend starting to prep your veggies now if you haven't already. Because we do have a lot of veg prep for tonight's meal. And this meal takes a little bit longer because we have to bake in the oven and we're making our own crust. So it is a bit longer of a meal, but I thought, let's try it out. We will have like a little, we'll be right back side, and we won't be talking the whole 45 minutes while the pie bakes.
When you say prep some veggies, like what should they do? Like peel their carrots?
Peel and dice whatever you can from now and 6 o'clock. Dice into small half-inch cubes. Especially the butternut squash, we need to dice it into small half-inch cubes because it needs to be cooking fast. And we're going to cook everything on the stove, and then we'll put it into a pie, either a large 9-inch pie or individual pie crusts.
That's
now,
butternut squash.
Yes.
You've never seen one. And this
is a parsnip.
Parsnip.
Now, side note, disclaimer, when I cook, it's quite free, and I make my own recipes up, like this fall chicken pot pie. So I did find a recipe similar and then adjust it. I'm a little concerned we're going to have too much filling for the pie. So you have a few options. You can cut the amount of veg that I put in half, or you can make 2 pies and freeze it, which is a great option. Or you can literally just make the filling and then thin it out with some chicken stock, and you have a soup. So there's tons of solutions. We're going to go for it, and hopefully it's not crazy amount. We're not going to use the whole butternut squash. Only use half of this. But they do cook down a little bit.
So what she's basically saying is, if you're not making this drink, go ahead and peel your stuff
carrots,
first,
parsnip,
and then we'll make the drink, and then we'll get back to you on more preparations.
Okay, but for the butternut squash, it's hard to do live cooking videos. That's why cooking videos on TV is all segmented. Okay, for the butternut squash, if you are going to prep your veggies now, just cut it in half, vacuum or plastic wrap half of it. Don't peel it or anything. Just cut it in half, plastic wrap it, put it in the fridge. And then, peel half of it and take out the innards.
Let me ask you, is it better to cut it this way or this way?
No, this way. This way. Because there's seeds right here in the middle. And, cut it long ways, vertical. Okay. And this is a great thing that if you have half of it left, if you just roast it without peeling it, like where it's sitting flat on a sheet tray, you can make yourself a nice little squash soup. Like, oh, so good. So don't let it go to waste. It's a beautiful vegetable. What?
You're doing great.
Laughing at me. Okay, so here we go.
So let's see. We poured all the liquids in here.
We're adding the crushed cilantro and jalapeno.
Uh-huh.
And we need a few glasses. And some ice.
You want pint cups?
Do we have like cute green glasses maybe?
Yeah, sure do.
Shaken, not stirred. Okay. Oh, perfect. Fresh ice. and that was originally for the ice. We'll need more for the recipe later. All right. Oh, it looks so pretty.
Hey, you did a great job.
I followed the recipe to a T. Wow, it's perfect. What, we want to get the... Well, no, we want to get the cilantro and stuff.
You're right.
And that's like where all the ice chips are. That's the good part.
Yeah.
All right, the El Camino. That's how I made it last time. Almost completely missed my mouth.
Very good.
Oh, yum. Okay, you freeze the pie uncooked. Someone asked, you freeze the second pie that you're not going to bake tonight uncooked. And if you don't want to double your pie crust tonight, you can buy store pie crust. Anyway, you can just like foil it or plastic wrap and foil it and stick it in the freezer. And when you want to bake it, either put a crust on it or make a crust tonight and put it on and freeze it. But anyway, either way, you can cook it from frozen completely. Totally. And if you buy like an already frozen store-bought crust and just throw it on and bake it, it just will take a little bit longer to bake. Like tonight's bake should be 30 to 40 minutes. But it would take like an hour to bake a frozen pie. My love. I remember that I needed another egg.
Okay, I'll get it.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if I got it. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I was just looking at all these veggies, and they are quite large. So if you just want to do 1 parsnip, 1 carrot, and a quarter of the butternut squash, you should be good. But I think this is going to be a beautiful recipe with the fall flavors, and it could be a side dish for Thanksgiving if you wanted to bring someone a chicken pot pie. There's so many options. And if you don't have a lot of food for the week, you could thin it out and make it a soup. So I do apologize about that. I was just like, going through all of this. I was like, man, this actually cuts down into quite a bit of veg. But if you do have leftover butternut squash, you can make a soup out of it. It's really delicious. All right. So we will start cooking at 6, and we will be chopping our vegetables live because I didn't put, on the sheet to have everything prepped. So Stuart and I will prep. If you're by yourself, go ahead and start cutting your veggies up now just to get a little head start. I don't want anyone, feeling stressed or anything like that.
Got the eggs.
Okay, so we need the egg for the crust. So a little timeline of how we're going to pull this off. We are going to make the crust first because it needs to rest in the fridge for at least 30 minutes. And while the crust is going, we're going to chop our vegetables in order of cook time. So butternut squash takes the longest to cook.
How long?
I would say an extra 10 minutes on the skillet. Because remember, it's also going to cook in the oven. So it's going to take at least 30 minutes to cook in the oven. But we need a head start on these hearty vegetables. So we are going to cut the butternut squash, and then we're going to start sauteing it. So it's got like a 10-minute head start. And then we'll get the the carrots and the parsnips done. Okay. And then we'll add that to the pot, and then we'll prep the rest. So like the onion, celery, and garlic go last. So we just need to try to like maintain a good workflow. So we like that's how I would cook if I was, by myself and not live. I would just, do everything in the order. So I don't have to like wait, I'm just trying to get this done.
That's good because I wouldn't know the different cook times on that. I would just assume they're about the same. With the parsnips, like what else?
Parsnips are just like carrots, kind of.
Okay.
And you can make a parsnip puree, which is super delicious.
Yeah.
It's just a nice like alternative veg. They sell them year round, but they taste very fall-like to me. It's a good root vegetable. Just like a carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they add a little, I want to say sweetness, but it's different than a carrot. Do you want to try it raw? Or do you want to wait? You could eat it raw.
You can.
Just
Let
like a
me have a
carrot.
slice.
Okay, well, just peel a little. You don't want the skin. So peel over the bowl right here, baby. And then cut off that bottom knob because it looks kind of dirty. Wash your vegetables, guys. We washed our vegetables before. I wash them even if they come in a bag.
That's for you.
Okay? Same texture as a carrot, but a little bit different flavor.
Yeah.
Just slightly. Not as sweet as a carrot.
Are they more expensive?
Yes. Yeah, they are.
They're good. I could eat them just like that. They're not expensive. That was good.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Hey, Grievous Make 38. Thanks for tuning in. So, please let us know if you have any suggestions for next week's cook. If not, we are probably just going to do one of the many things that we wrote down.
Yeah, I was going through the books. If you saw me, we got quite a few. We have
And
more.
we have way more. But those are cookbooks I'm trying to do recipes from right now.
So what did I write down? Let's see. Okay, we recently got a Traeger. If you don't know what that is, it's this like barbecue pit that has these little pellets, and it kind of controls the temperature. Very cool. What did we do on there so far? We did some jalapeno peppers. Those are amazing. We did, what kind of chicken did you call it?
I call it a spatchcock chicken, where you cut out the spine of the chicken and then it smoked, or, well, it uses wood pellets to fire the grill,
right? But
it wasn't on smoke mode, so I grilled it, but it still had a little bit of a smoky flavor due to the pellets. But yeah, I cut the spine out and then laid it flat and never flipped it, cooked it skin side up for an hour and a half so the skin gets crispy. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it was very good. What else did we do? We did the pork belly bites.
I did that. Good. I made some pork belly bites, smoked those for 2.5 hours while I was smoking a brisket.
We did the brisket, yeah.
And then the macaroni and cheese. So I made macaroni and cheese, put them in little pots, and then we
Le Crucettes.
Yeah, we got these for our wedding present. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I put all of the macaroni and cheeses on a sheet tray, and then with crispy topping, and then I put it in the smoker. So it gave it a little bit of a smoky flavor, and it warmed them back up because I had prepared them earlier in the day since people were coming over.
Yeah.
So all the food was ready to go. I love that about like cooking on the smoker because it doesn't cook it as fast, so you could like slow it down, let it just kind of. I don't know. Yeah. I like it.
But we understand not everybody has a Traeger, so we just wanted to let y'all know about that. I already talked about breakfast.
You ever want us to cook breakfast for dinner?
Yeah.
We're good at that.
Let's see. Stuffed tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I love stuffed tomatoes. Green fried tomatoes, I just love. They're great. Eggplants. I don't know if you guys eat eggplants, but we do. It's very easy, too, right?
Yeah, we literally just burn them on open flame because we have a gas grill. And once they start to kind of like explode with like little gooiness, it sounds weird. And you just cut it open and scoop that deliciousness out and sprinkle salt, olive oil, and lemon juice. Oh, it's one of my favorite things to eat.
Yeah, that and a couple crackers.
Oh, so good. Okay, now I want to eat that. We're going to make that this weekend.
Let's see. A dessert. We haven't done a dessert, so we could always do a dessert.
Yes, let us know if you want us to make dessert.
And then pasta.
Homemade
pasta.
People like when we do pasta meals, but do you want us to teach you how to make homemade pasta?
Yeah.
Someone says Brenner. Oh, breakfast for dinner. We could totally do breakfast for dinner. Is that what it's called? Well, I know.
Oh, I didn't know it was called that.
They're listening to it, and I was like, Brenner, but then I like, genius.
Yeah.
Are you going to want us, should I leave this out just in case you want another one?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you put the top on the shaker? Okay. Well, you know how to make it, so you may have to make it if I'm cooking.
Occupied. Right. Let's see. Yeah, and then maybe something with potatoes. I mean, you can make tons of stuff with potatoes. Sky's the limit, I've heard. But Chelsea would know.
Okay, so there was this recipe I've been really wanting to try. Yes, breakfast for dinner with fresh made biscuits. We could totally do that. That's a great idea. I make very good biscuits. Yes. Okay.
Let me write that down.
Write it down. And if anyone else, unless anyone else gives suggestions, we'll make that next week. Because it doesn't seem like people really want us to make Thanksgiving meals, which is totally fine. I'm actually selling Thanksgiving meals here in Houston. We already have 3 orders, so I'm making a ton of Thanksgiving food. So I would love to make breakfast for dinner. That would be, oh my God, do you like our aprons?
We just got them.
Ooh.
We got a little belt loop.
Look how cute we are. Okay. We'll be starting in 9 minutes, but I had something I wanted to talk about.
Acorns.
The app. We use the Acorns app.
No, what did you really want to talk about?
Oh, a good gravy. We could make biscuits with sausage gravy.
I love biscuits and gravy.
I know you do. Let's do it. And a fried egg. Okay.
Oh, you know what I also like? Let's see.
Oh gosh, get me started.
Chicken fried chicken. Oh, it's so good.
So I work for another company, which I may not be able to disclose, but we made a dumpling and we put gravy on it, and we were like, oh, what if it was like chicken fried steak? I don't know. It's not my idea.
But let's see.
I love chicken fried steak though.
Yeah.
With gravy. Can you make chicken fried steak for breakfast? No.
Yeah.
With biscuits? That's a big.
It's not a crime.
That's a big breakfast for dinner. Chicken fried steak, gravy,
You'll go to
biscuits.
Sleep. Go to sleep. You'll just stay asleep. Go into a food coma.
And a food baby. Okay, food coma it is. And I'm curious. And good bacon. Ooh, it's gonna be such a long list.
Black peppered bacon. Oh, I love. I
haven't bought that in a long time because they don't have it at Costco.
Yeah. Okay,
so I did put this in the notes that if you're making the PieCrust tonight, you do need a food processor. You could technically whisk it. Anyway, it comes out the way it does so well because the food processor does all the work. If you're making a PieCrust from scratch, you don't want to overwork it. It becomes tough. The gluten in the flour, you don't want to do that. So I did put on there, so if you do not have a food processor, I really do encourage you to purchase a store-bought crust. No harm, no foul. Nobody is judging you.
When you go to the store, is there a ton of different crusts? Do you just randomly pick something or what?
In the baking aisle, they have a lot of different crusts for making pumpkin pies. They have graham cracker crust and pecan crust, and they have gluten-free crust.
I was thinking of the freezer.
Well, yeah. So then you go to the freezer section, and they have pie crust, but sometimes they can be sweet. So you just need to make sure it's a neutral pie crust. Because I've purchased pie crust before for chicken pot pie, and realizing that it was sweet. Second thing you could use is puff pastry, which is delicious. But if you fill your pie tin, I've learned this. If you fill your pie tin too high, the puff pastry seems to get soggier than a pie crust, I think because of the butter. So anyway, it being a lot more butter than the pie crust. Yeah. Definitely, the thing that blows my mind about grocery stores is there's so many options. The sky's the limit compared to what? Even just 20 years ago, we did not have near as many options as we do now, and they blow my mind. I had not purchased a already made pie crust in forever from the baking aisle because I make my own graham cracker crust. It's super easy, but I didn't know they had pecan and all this stuff, and they're not bad. They're not as good as store homemade. I just think because of freshness. But they're not bad, and their gluten-free pie crust is good. Because, sometimes it's just, you need it in a pinch. Yeah. Oh, I have a friend who's gluten-free. Can you make her something tomorrow? Sure. I don't know how to say no to people, so yes. Okay. We have 5 minutes. I will be right back.
She'll be back. Let's see. So, going back to your stuff. So, if you're doing this alone, hopefully you've already peeled your what were these again? Parsnips, carrots,
butternut squash. You could.
I guess the celery if they bought a big stock of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna peel that celery.
You're gonna peel celery?
Oh, celery. Sorry. I was thinking about carrots.
Gotcha. For celery, what do they do if they got the large one? I mean, do you just cut them into, we already had these like small pieces.
So for me to try to eat healthier, when I get celery, there are two things I do. I either wrap it in foil because it stays in your fridge for so much longer if you just take the whole entire, celery stalk with the bottom and. I mean, I wash it and then I cut off the bottom and the top and then I wrap it in foil and I could just grab and go. But if you cut the celery like into sticks, put it in water and it will stay longer. But yeah, this is just I had cut in a few celery sticks already and put it in water, so that's what I have. But yeah, you just want to dice your vegetables roughly the same size. That's why we're gonna cook it in a specific order because even though they're the same size, some of them cook quicker or some of them need longer time. And then the second note, I know everyone puts frozen peas, in their chicken pot pie.
I don't like peas.
We don't like peas, and this is a fall recipe. If you looked at this pie and you're like, ugh, you can put peas in it, I want you guys to learn a method. Like, I think today you'll learn the PieCrust method and then like a method for creating a filling.
Yeah,
but
like a base.
A base. But if you don't want to buy, I put on here, like if you don't want to purchase this vegetable or you don't want to put all these veggies in it, like it's totally fine. Yes, you could grow your celery stalks back in a thing of water, like if you keep the base, which you could also do with green onions. So I cut off the green onions and then I put it in water and they grow back. At least you can only do this once though, but I love it. I do it all the time. Plus, it's pretty. So yeah, you can do that with celery, but celery takes way longer. They don't grow back full, and they're not as good, I don't think. I think this is way better. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. The first thing we're going to do is make the crust. So there's a few more things I need for the crust. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but it says 1/4 cup of ice water.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I will show you guys. I will show you guys what this means. It's really simple. It's a way to make sure that your butter and your pie stays cold. So just like biscuits, you use cold butter to put in your dough. So when you bake it, that butter disperses and it makes it a flaky crust or biscuit. So that is what the 1/4 cup of cup of ice water is. So I'll get my little measuring cup. So for that being said, just get a measuring cup and put some water in it, but don't fill it all the way up because you need to put ice in it.
Yeah. You could always shake it and just shake it.
Okay. So there we go. That's probably too many ice cubes, but we'll make it will melt by the time we're done. So we still have a few more minutes, and we're going to start. I am going to grab all my ingredients for my pie crust now. So if you have been chopping vegetables, kind of clear the way. And if you already bought your crust, then you could start prepping your vegetables if you want. If you want to do it with us, no big deal.
Let me ask you. Let's say somebody bought the frozen crusts.
Yes.
Should they have it in the freezer still, or should they bring it out?
That's a good question. It depends on what kind of pie you're making. So if you're going to cook, yes, it needs to come out a little bit because it needs to be flexible. So yes, actually, I would pull it out. But not yet, because we're going to put this back in the fridge to rest. You don't want it to be room temp. You still need your pie crust to be cold. Not frozen, but cold. So maybe just stick it in the fridge. If you have a frozen pie crust, stick it in the fridge. Good question. Okay, let's get the ingredients out. So We need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay. And we need 1 teaspoon of salt, which I have right here. 1 egg. And then I just need heavy cream and a tablespoon measure. And another bowl, a bigger bowl. Okay. So I put pretty thorough instructions for this pie crust recipe. This is the pie crust recipe that I learned on a TV show called MasterChef. And they were very specific about letting us know that you could alternate fats and wet ingredients because sometimes we didn't get all the ingredients that we wanted. So I did write on here notes that if you don't have butter, you can use shortening. And if you don't have heavy cream, you can use sour cream or buttermilk. So there are substitutes that you can use to still pull off this crust.
Okay, we had a question about the squash. So again, you're going to want to cut this lengthwise.
Yes.
Did you say scoop out the seeds at the bottom?
Yes. Okay. So you're going to cut this lengthwise, save half of it. I mean, unless you want to do the whole thing, you're not going to need that much butter to squash. So cut it lengthwise, wrap half of it in plastic wrap. Then take a peeler, or you could scoop out the seeds first because they're probably going to fall everywhere. So scoop out the seeds first, then take a peeler and peel the half of the butternut squash, cut off the top and the bottom, and then just cut it into dices. It is a hardy vegetable, so you're going to have to put a little elbow into it.
Peel it out. Maybe cut the top and the bottom, then do the...
Yeah, maybe cut the top and the bottom off before. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so food processor. In the food processor, you need your blade. So put that in before and make sure it's locked because I've done that before where it's not ready and then you basically have to dump all your ingredients out because you can't get it to lock. Okay, then do 2.5 cups of flour. All-purpose flour is fine.
Will this pie have top crust?
The pie only has top crust. So I am not a big fan of chicken pot pies that have a huge bottom crust because it gets soggy. And plus, we would have to have pre-baked the crust and cooled it and before we even put the filling in. And it would have taken...
Twice baked.
Yeah, it would have taken us a very long time to make this pie. So this pie does not have a bottom crust. This crust recipe actually probably is for a top and bottom, which is great because we're making quite a large thing. So you could easily make 2 pies tonight and freeze one. Yay! I did that on purpose. Okay, so now you're going to take your fat, which we are using butter, and we need 3/4 a cup, which is, oh, I need more butter than this. And you need to dice it into small cubes.
We always buy unsalted butter.
Yes, because we're going to add our own salt.
So
So
if
this
you
is
have,
a 1/2 cup. I need a third of that.
yeah, but tell them if they have salted butter, then they got to watch their salt. What do you call it?
Content. And the flavor, because it
Yeah.
can be too salty.
Then it's gonna be way too salty.
So go ahead and add your diced up butter right into your food processor with your 2.5 cups of flour. Voila.
Voila, which means
And then, hold on.
all right.
So I had a 1/2 cup, and I need 3/4, so I just need a 1/4, which is 1/2 stick. Okay. There we go. And just dice it into some cubes. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. That's what we're adding into our food processor right now. Aw. Okay. 1 teaspoon of salt. I use kosher salt, which is larger grain, so I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons. All right. So now you're going to pulse this. So you don't want to go too far. You want to pulse it up till it resembles sand. Okay. That looks like sand, right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so that means all the butter is equally dispersed. Okay, now you're going to take a bowl and you're going to add 1 egg to your bowl, a fourth a cup of ice water. This is a half a cup, so not all that. So half of this, plus an ice cube to keep it cold. Okay. And heavy cream. It all goes into this thing right now. So you're adding your water, your egg, and your heavy cream into this right here. And how much heavy cream do I need? 3 tablespoons. 3 tablespoons of your fat, which if you have sour cream, you could use that, or buttermilk. Okay. Now whisk that together. Do you mind? Actually, I could use a spoon. Just break up the egg. And create a well-mixed, cold, it needs to be cold. So like I had an ice cube still in here. So it keeps the liquids cold. All right, and what we're gonna do is stream this into the food processor while it's on until the dough comes together, which should not take long. All right, so on and stream. And it'll come together real quick. Now, if your dough seems very dry, which mine does, you can add a little bit of water, but just a little bit. You don't want to go too far. Because if it's not coming together, that seems good. Yeah. Okay.
What kind of texture you would say that
like
is?
Play-Doh? See how it just comes together?
Oh yeah, like a mashed potato.
Yeah, maybe. I never thought of it like that. Okay. So now, you're just going to pour it on your work surface. Get out the blade. Don't hurt yourself. And just throw everything in the sink. It'll be washed sometime. There you go, babe. And we're just going to form this together. You don't want to overwork it. If you have crumbs kind of hanging about, just try to knead it in. But if like this is quite a bit, I'm actually just not even going to worry about that.
And the El Camino is really good. We suggest to everybody,
Yeah, it's super good drink. Thank
Try
you, AYEBEARGAMER. Okay, so now just put it all together. So I had a little bit of this crumb texture on the side. I could have added just a dash more water, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to push this into a disc, like so.
You want to take care of that?
We're going to clean it up. We'll get a bench scraper, just clean it up real quick. And now we're going to wrap this in plastic wrap and put it in the fridge. And we'll get it later when we get the pies done. Let me just wash my hands real quick. You want the trash can?
I got a bowl.
Oh, okay. Cool. You are right. All right, so that's how you make pie crust. You can make this pie crust for all types of pies. You can, it can be savory or sweet. So, let's see. Oh, the El Camino is super good. So this pie, like I said, it's gonna just have a top. This should be enough pie crust to make 2 pies since we're only doing the top. If we were to make a chicken pot pie with a bottom and a top, we would have had to pre-bake the bottom of the crust, and it's just a lot longer of a process. It's not really something that we could probably achieve live on a Thursday night. I feel like we would be eating really late. We try to do this within an hour. Tonight's is definitely not it's gonna be longer because we have to bake the pie in the oven. Okay, so just clean up real quick. We're gonna get to chopping our vegetables. Okay, you're gonna need like a stock pot. to do all of this in. So it's all one pot. You're going to use one pot to cook all your veggies and add your liquid and your chicken, and then you'll transfer that into a pie ramekin or little individual pie pots, whatever you have. All right. All right, let's get to cracking. So Stuart's already doing the celery for me, and we need to do the butternut squash first. This is going to take the longest. It's the most hearty vegetable, I guess we could say. So go ahead and cut off the top and the bottom. Cut it down lengthwise vertical. Ooh, it's a little bit on a slant there. There we go. And like this, I'm literally just going to wrap in plastic wrap and save this to make soup.
How are you going to make that soup?
I'm going to take this thing, cut out take out the seeds, lay it flat down on a sheet tray, roast it at like 450 degrees for probably 30 minutes, and then I'll scoop it out, add some either vegetable chicken stock, a little bit of garlic, and I'll puree it up. That's it. Super easy.
You don't add like any spices? Or...
You can. You can add cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, pepper if you want to make it like more. But if you just want to taste the squash, simple.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead and peel out the seeds. And go ahead and get your stock pot onto medium heat. So go ahead and turn on your pot on your stove to medium heat. Okay?
5 since we have a, what is it, 1 through 10?
We have a 1 through 10 gas grill. And then I'm just going to take my vegetable peeler. It's a little bit difficult. It's not easy. It's not as easy as a carrot. And peel this squash. What?
You're doing great.
Well, it's a bit of an odd shape,
It is. Yeah.
Don't worry about getting your counter dirty. You can just clean it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're done with the peeler since you already peeled our celery carrots. All right, so go ahead. If you haven't already, put your pot to medium heat so it starts to get warm. And then cut your squash into half-inch dices. So I cut it long ways, like so. And then once I get through it, don't cut yourself. That's all I gotta say. Now there's a few pieces that are larger, so I'm just gonna cut those in half because of the shape of the vegetable.
Oh, so
those are perfect.
So
Yeah. Yeah, like most of these actually are a good shape, but the very ends were like where the heel was a little thick. So now we're just going to dice these into cubes. Now butternut squash is going to give your pot pie a little bit of sweetness. You'll really taste the fall. I think it's delicious. And with the soup, when I make butternut squash soup, I like to add a fried sage leaf on top. It's very delicious. Just like we did, remember we did the fried sage with the pumpkin?
Right, so then you would have to prepare that in advance, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it.
And would that be best like in a skillet? Or
Yeah, just take a skillet with a couple tablespoons of olive oil and just
fry it for a couple minutes?
yeah. Just like a quick fry. Get the oil nice and hot, and it'll fry really fast if the oil's hot. It'll just poof. Okay, so see how small these are? They're not big. If you cut your butternut squash too large,
Let me move this to the food can.
if you cut them too large, it will take a lot longer to cook because it's a heartier vegetable. We want the veggies to have a tenderness to them before we put it in our pie. It's not going to cook immensely inside. It will, but you don't want to rely on baking in the oven to cook the vegetables through. It won't do that. You need to have them cooked a little bit beforehand. Any more questions? Oh yeah, the El Camino is delicious. Thank you so much.
Very good.
I think we could have added a little bit more jalapeno. Okay, so now go ahead and put about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil or olive oil in your pot and add your butternut squash. All right, you want to hear that sizzle. Now we are going to cut the parsnips and the celery. I mean the carrots. I keep saying that. The celery, onion, and garlic are last. So go ahead, babe. You'll do the parsnips. I mean the carrots. I'll do the parsnips. Cut off the top and bottoms if you haven't already.
And then I just slice them.
So for the carrots, because they're all about the same size, I would cut these long way, and then again, and then dice them into small.
Okay.
So quarter them lengthwise. But the parsnips, see how fat they are at the top? I gotta cut it in half, and then dice it 3 more times, so I could get the same size as the butternut squash. All right, there we go. How you doing? Good? Oh, exactly. That's exactly how you do it. Now, the parsnips are a little bit more fibrous than the than the carrots, so they'll go in next. I'm going to get a wooden spoon so I can stir my butternut squash a little.
Where did you get that knife again?
This knife?
Yeah.
I bought this for you for Christmas, but you never use
that
it.
is my knife. Yeah.
Yeah, but you never use it, so I started using it because it was not cheap. I thought you'd like it. It even came with a sheet.
Yeah. And I think I bought you something similar.
I use it.
So I should use that one. You use that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to get the other knife? Here, use this one.
I'm gonna get the other knife. I feel jealous.
That's your fault. So this is there's a name for it, but there's I like these knives because they're not only large knives and they're sharp, but you can use it to pick up veggies just like a veg scraper.
Look
And
at
that's
that
another one we have. So there's a YouTube channel.
And you wanted me to do these like in cubes, right?
Yeah, just like these. Exactly like that. Yep, exactly like that.
Yeah, this is live.
Whoop, whoop. Level up. Right, baby?
Yeah.
Right, baby? Look at this. Look at this spoon. We're the perfect mix. It says we're the perfect mix. Chelsea and Stewart, established 2020. Thank you, Stina.
Thank you.
Alright, keep letting the butternut squash. Oh, no. The parsnips going first.
Oh, okay.
The parsnips go before the carrots. They got more fiber. We need like an extra 5 minutes. Timing is important.
Do not mix your...
Don't mix all your veggies together.
Yeah.
They go in an order. Unless you want soggy veggies, then, that's your decision. But I like them with a little bit of a bite. So, I don't add... If you like your onions caramelized so they add sweetness, you can add them now. But again, the butternut squash is already sweet, so I'm not going to do that. You only need 1/3 of an onion. The onion's really to add some flavor, not as much like your vegetable that you're going to eat. But this is a small onion, so I'll do half an onion. And go ahead and make this in dices. So I run my knife down, but I don't go all the way through so it doesn't completely fall apart on me. And then just run my knife down again.
Yeah.
And I got nice dices because the onion does have to work because it's already...
Yeah. And I'm going to peel the
garlic.
Garlic. You don't know yet. Put it down. Bam. And it's ready to pick.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to add my parsnips now. My butternut squash is looking nice and golden. And this is a good time to add your parsnips. Let that go for another 5 minutes before we add the next veg. I turned up my heat to a 6, so I raised it a little bit. The more stuff we put in it, I'll raise it a little bit so it maintains its heat.
Are we keeping these garlics whole, or
no? We're gonna mince those garlics up into little bitty pieces. You know how to mince garlic?
Do I know? I think I have an idea, but you can probably show me. Show all of us.
So it's funny. There's a YouTube video from Bon Appetit Test Kitchen. And they go through how to mince the garlic the quickest. And if you actually were trying to do it for speed, you would want to cut it like you would an onion, which you would probably need a more delicate knife to do this. But you dice it like an onion, just like I did it. Lots of lengthwise without getting to the top, and then you go across like an onion. On some onions, I don't always do this. And then again, so you're making like a little grid into your tiny garlic, and then you just go to town.
Oh.
But that's if you're, it's actually funny. The girl who did it won the speed thing on garlic, but she didn't end up winning the speed test overall. But
just like an onion, tomato.
I don't cut my tomatoes that way.
I've seen people do it.
Okay.
On one of the shows or something I watched with you.
So go ahead and mince your garlic up. You wanna do those ones?
Yeah.
Go ahead and mince the garlic, and we've got the butternut squash and the parsnips already in your pan, and we are using already cooked chicken. So I did say if you wanted to make your own chicken, we bought rotisserie chickens from the store. Totally fine. It would just, like I said, increase the time exponentially. So we did not do that. So now, and you want to put the garlic in last because garlic burns. So now you're going to cut up your celery into the same size pieces as everything else. And I like my celery to have a crunch, so I will add the celery last and then the garlic after. So I'll add carrots next, then I'll do, not yet, but I will, and then I'll add carrots, onion, celery. This is just how I do it. I don't really like my veggies to all be really mushy. I mean, I need them to be cooked. I'm not eating a salad, but I want them to be mushy. I don't want them to be mushy. Okay, let me stir up my parsnips and my butternut squash. Looking good. Ooh, I like the caramelization. Plus, if you cook veggies like this and you do it the way we're doing it, you're giving it time to brown. And brown food is good food. So are my brown men. No, too much? Man! Just one! I'm so sorry. You're my only one.
Good.
Mwah! I love you. Okay, so if you're like us, all your veggies are done. And we're just waiting to cook them. So the last things we will need are chicken broth. We will need flour, milk, and butter. Because we're going to create a roux eventually, not yet, eventually, to make the filling thick. Okay, and I did put all the instructions. I'm trying to be more thorough with the instructions, so if you miss it, you could cook along another day or just, you know, have a good recipe. Or if I'm going too fast or too slow, you can proceed at your speed. All right. If your vegetables are sticking really bad to the bottom of your pan, you can add a little bit more oil. I'm going to add a little bit more oil. I'm going to wrap up my other half of an onion with plastic wrap. And Stuart's going to stick that in the... That was a good throw, right? Whoop, whoop.
Toss? Yeah.
Oh, it was a toss?
Yeah. I think throw is over.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if you guys could tell, your butternut squash is starting to break down a little bit. Let's add our carrots now.
What kind of, on
Then
the
we'll add the
squash, it
onion.
was breaking down, it was getting like a little mushy or what?
Yeah, we're cooking it. It's getting, it's starting to cook, which means it will become a little bit less firm and more mushy. Mushy!
But you don't want it too mushy then.
No, I don't want it to be like mashed potatoes.
Yeah, you just want it to get a little...
Yeah.
Smells good.
It looks like fall, huh? You can put those on there. A little Les Crucettes. They're so cute. Okay, so I added the celery. Ugh, the carrots. I keep getting mixed up. This El Camino is strong, okay? It's like no mixer, all liquor. Okay, so we're going to let the carrots go for a little bit. Then we're going to add the onion and the celery and the garlic. So I think we've got about 10 more minutes of veg cook. And then we'll finish out the filling. And then we will dress them and put the crust on and pop them in the oven. Speaking of oven, this is a good time to put your oven at 425 degrees. We didn't want to do it at the beginning because you don't need it on that long because it'll get hot. Hot, toasty, hot. So look, we're only in for 27 minutes and look how far we've gone.
Oh,
We'll have the pies in the oven before 7 and then we'll take like a little break. We'll still be live, but we'll come back and pull out the pies together and see how they look. Something I did not add, and this is up to you, but if you have an extra egg, I would, at the end, which I'll show you, you don't have to do it now, you whisk the egg in a little bowl, and you're going to brush the crust with your egg wash, and it will just ensure a really golden, nice crust. I forgot to add that, but it's okay because we're live, so if you're watching, you get the benefit and the pleasure of knowing this information. Yeah. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. Because I'm semi-knowledgeable in this field.
Also, you got garlic on your glasses somehow.
I blame you. You're out.
What was that for?
Oh, I was going to move it over
We can.
once all the veg was done.
Make room.
Honestly, I think we can add the celery and the onion at the same time. Let's do that. Not yet. Not yet. But we'll add the celery and the onion at the same time. But wait for the garlic. Let me do it.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but it didn't look like it was actually in there. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. Alright, now I'll have the cooktop so you guys can see.
Yeah, and maybe bring it a little forward. Yeah. Okay, you need another one? You got it?
Got it. Alright. So you can see here, you said forward, like this way?
Yeah.
That our veggies are nice. I love that they get this golden brown color by cooking it on the skillet freehand. This is just going to add a lot more flavor. All right, now we're going to add our celery and our onion. Go ahead and add both at the same time. Oh yeah, I'm excited. It smells so good, you guys. We haven't added like salt, and it's the thing. The recipes I'm trying to show you guys don't have like a lot of like extra. Like this could have had sage and thyme, and you could have added all these herbs. But I'm just trying to teach you a method because I feel like if I overdo it, one, your grocery list just gets larger, or you may not like that herb, and I don't want to derail anyone from trying something. I'm going to add a little bit more oil just to help brown the rest of the veg. Yeah, see, like this is enough veg if you were just doing a vegetable pot pie and not adding the chicken. But since we're going to add chicken, this could easily make 2 pies. All right, let that brown. You can turn it up a little bit higher if you have oil in it. If you don't have oil in it, don't turn it up too high because it will burn. But it's now got oil to keep it from sticking, so I can keep turning it. What?
You're doing great. And I guess the garlic's way at the end.
Okay, so the garlic's at the end. Garlic, once it burns, it turns bitter and it's not very appetizing. So if I would have added it at the beginning, browning all these veggies, it would have browned already and been burnt. So you add garlic at the very end. I've learned this from mistakes. You want to make us one to split?
Sure. I am going to do that.
The cilantro and the jalapeno are in the fridge. All right. So like I said, this recipe is taking us a little bit more time, but it's going to be so good. And if you haven't yet, set your oven to 425 degrees. Once we get this done and we add the milk and everything and it's done, all we have to do is fill up our pans, our little pie pans or whatever you're using, and we'll roll out the dough. I mean, if you're someone who doesn't even have like a dough, like a pie tin, you could use a Pyrex. I mean, we're rolling out the dough so you could shape it any shape you want. Speaking of shape, this cookie cutter, which I have large cookies, this is going to be like perfect, right, babe, for the crust?
Yeah. Did you see where my jalapeno went?
I put it back with the cilantro in the fridge in the bag of the cilantro. Okay. Our veggies are well on their way. I love the color I'm getting. Okay, I'm going to add the garlic. Cook this for about a minute.
After you're done. Oh.
Garlic may just add flavor to the drink.
Yeah. No, I was saying you got a can.
Oh, sorry.
A knife, right.
Go ahead and cook your garlic for about a minute until it starts to get a little bit golden. You can already smell it. And you're going to want a bowl to discard your vegetables back in. And then we're going to make the roux and everything in here, and then we'll add the veggies back at the very end. Good. Any more questions? We're good? Everyone's happy? Everyone's cooking, that's why.
Good.
Right?
I believe so.
Shake.
You know, if you are cooking, thank you, number one.
Thank you.
Number two, please tag us at Cooking for Stew if you do it on Facebook, Instagram, what else? Guess
Yeah.
what it is, too.
Facebook, Instagram. I do have a TikTok, but you can't tag me on it. Okay, you guys. Turn off your heat. And put your veggies on a plate or in a bowl. Just get them out of this pan. Don't burn yourself. Oh, it smells so good. And I haven't added salt or anything yet. We'll season the chicken broth and the butter mixture here in a bit. And if you have brown bits, as long as they're not burnt at the bottom of your pan, keep that in there. That's flavor right there. So you don't want to get rid of that. Okay, so now we're going to make the roux with the butter and the flour. So go ahead and take your 1/3 cup of butter. I had butter.
I didn't see it.
Well, I used it earlier. Did you put away butter from earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just use that. Perfect. So go ahead and add your butter. You can cut it up if it's a big knob into the pan. I turned my heat back on. And then you're going to add equal parts butter to flour. So if you're adding a 1/3 cup of butter, add a 1/3 cup of flour. All right, I got my measuring cup. All right, a 1/3 cup of flour. Go ahead and reduce your heat. I see my butter was getting a little brown, which is not a problem. We just don't want to burn it. And I like to cook my roux, which this is a roux, which is flour and butter. It's going to make our filling thick. I like to cook the roux for a few minutes because you want to make sure that you cook the flour so you're not eating raw flour. The flavor of raw flour is not really, it's just, it has a flavor. Once you cook it out, it really doesn't have a flavor, which is good because you don't want the flavor of flour. You want the flavor of everything else. So go ahead and just keep whisking this and stirring this at a very low heat. You don't want to burn this for a few minutes. If you want to turn it really low, so you can kind of grab the other ingredients, you totally can. The last things we're going to need is the milk, which is a 1/3 cup. Is it a 1/3? Sorry. Yeah, a half a cup of milk and 1.5 cups of chicken stock. So it's going to be 2 cups of liquid total. So a half a cup of milk and 1.5 cups of chicken stock. Just keep cooking the flour out. Okay. We're good, I think. This looks good. Now you're going to add a 1/2 cup of milk. Which is going to give it some creaminess. If you don't have milk, you can add a little bit of heavy cream at the end, since you had to buy heavy cream already, if you have it. Okay, and then you're going to add a 1/2 cup of chicken stock. So 1 cup of chicken stock and a 1/2. Awesome, and go ahead. And you can either grab a whisk if you want, but just make sure that it gets all mixed up. I may need a whisk. Yeah. I'm going to get a whisk. I recommend you getting a whisk too, because you really want to break that roux down into the liquid. All right. So whisk the roux and liquid together. And you can turn up your heat a little bit. We want roux will thicken your liquid once it becomes hot and warm. It really won't do much. Like if you added flour to water and mixed it in a jug, it wouldn't do anything. But if you heated that liquid up, the flour would then thicken the milk. Fascinating stuff. And you want this to be thick, you guys. Don't be like, oh, this looks too thick. It's a pie filling. It's not a soup. If you have too much filling and you want to make it a soup, you can thin it out using chicken stock. But it needs to be thick. Okay.
I missed it. What is this for?
We're going to use that to cut the rounds out for our pie.
Oh, okay. Do we
Cheers.
need a roll?
We will. Or a wine bottle. Okay. I turned off my heat. Look at that. That's nice and thick. All right, you guys. Now we get to add all of the yummy stuff back in. Woo! My whisk is going crazy. All right, so once it's thick, you add all of your other ingredients. So you're going to add the rest of your veggies in right now, and you're going to add your chicken, which I did put 2.5 cups of shredded chicken, which is going to make a lot, so I'll probably put like 1.5 cups. But if you want it to be really meaty and you're meat eaters, you can add all 2.5 cups of chicken. Like I said, I got rotisserie chicken. This doesn't need to be heated as long as it's shredded, because it's going to go in the oven and it will get hot in the oven, I promise. Okay, I'm just minor big chunks. I'm going to rip it up a little bit more. Any questions?
Yeah, it's too tiny.
How many? Oh, oops. It's typing. We made 2. Well, now we're on our double batch of the El Camino, so this is our second drink each. They're really good. Thank you so much for the recipe. We usually only have 1 cocktail. I think he made 1 and we split it because it's quite
This
heavy.
one's spicier. I don't know if you.
Ooh, I had a
Right.
sip, but I didn't take. I had a very small sip. Maybe I need to take a sip. Anyway, you guys, I'm adding my shredded chicken right now. I'm kind of eyeballing it because I already have a lot of veg. So you can make that call. I think that's good, right, babe? It's going to be a little bit more veg-centric. You want more?
Just a little bit more.
Stuart wants it to be more chicken. How's that?
Yeah, it's going to be perfect.
Okay. Let me wash. Can you stir that?
Sure.
Go ahead and stir it all up. And I turned off the heat. So the heat should be off. Your roux should be thick. And your filling should be thick. Now, okay, stop stirring. We need to add salt and pepper. Okay, you guys, for this much food, I would say add 1.5 teaspoons of salt.
And how much pepper?
1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And then stir it, taste it. If you think it needs more salt, totally add more salt. But let's taste it before we put it in our pie shells. Usually, I season along the way.
Did you answer how thick it should be?
It should be pretty thick. I mean, it's not a soup. It's a pie filling, so it needs to be pretty thick. If you think it's a little too thick, you can add a little bit more chicken stock, which I might add a little bit.
Yeah, I think the thickness is almost like, what would I, you see how sticky it is?
Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more chicken broth because it's pretty thick. Probably from the extra starches in the vegetables that we added, because usually chicken pot pie only has carrots, but we added 2 vegetables that were more starchy. So that looks better. What do you think?
Let me try it.
Oh yeah, please try it. Please try it. If you think it's too thick, please add a little bit.
You saw the first one, it stuck. Now on here,
we need to taste it because the
Yeah,
salt and pepper.
That's what I was saying too, but the thickness, you know?
Yeah, this looks better. If it's too thick and you're trying it, then definitely add more because you're going to be eating it in this consistency. That's good.
Yeah. And I got some celery. I love how it's not too...
Oh, that's so good. Oh my goodness, I love it. I'm actually going to add a little bit more chicken stock because I think it's going to thicken up just a tad bit in the oven because of the flour. I'm sorry, you guys. When I cook, you know, I make a recipe and I adjust, and I think that's what makes me a good cook. Like
cooking on the fly.
Well, yes, but
That's what I heard.
I always try to find recipes, but you know, a vegetable can be bigger than the vegetable unless you're weighing everything. Everything can change.
Yeah, and depending on the region you're in.
Okay, you guys. So now, let's get the pie crust out. All right.
Yeah.
No. Alright, so clear up a work surface for you, like so, and add a little bit of flour on the work surface, and grab a rolling pin if you have one, or a wine bottle, or a pint glass. No worries, you can make anything work. Okay. And now I'm just going to roll out the pie crust. This pie crust, you don't want it to be too thick, but you don't want it to be too thin. You know, it's a fair line. I would say maybe, what, a half a centimeter? Make sure you have not too much flour, but enough flour so your rolling pin doesn't stick. And rotate your pie crust every now and then to ensure it's not sticking to your work table. So see, that's too thick, but you still want to rotate it around. It needs to be thinner than a sugar cookie, but I don't know how to explain it. Right, this looks good.
Because you don't want your pie crust to be too thick, right?
No, but you don't want to be too thin. Because that's like the best part, the buttery crust on top. All right, so let's take off our little lids to our Le Croissants. And my husband here is going to fill each of them.
Can we make room first?
Hustle, hustle, hustle. Just kidding. There we go. And I found a cookie cutter.
Since we're using this, I'm filling it all the way to the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd that cookie cutter go?
Ready?
All right, so I'm going to cut a piece of, maybe I could show you guys about the thickness of this bad boy. It's, okay, it's a little bit thinner than a sugar cookie. That's it. That's a good explanation. Because sugar cookies, at least when I make them, they're about almost a quarter thicker. Hopefully that's a good explanation. And then go ahead, depending on how you're making your pie, there's so many ways that you could decorate your pie. You could make it simple like this. You could take a fork and run it around and have little indentations. You could do the whole thumb and make like little, what are they called?
Now, do you have to make a hole or something?
Yes. So I'm going to just stick with a really basic pie. I'm not going to crimp the sides or anything like that, but I am going to press it down over the edges of the pie, and then I'm going to pierce it with a knife.
Is that so
the steam comes out? It's very important you do this. And that's it. A cute little chicken pot pie. They are going to go into the oven for 30 to 45 minutes at 425 because you need to cook the crust. I'm going to get my egg out and do the egg wash. This is something that will just excel your pie and make it like a little crunchy on the top. if you have an egg, an extra egg, because I didn't put it on there, and I'm so sorry. If you have an extra egg, just whisk it up real good with a fork. And brush it on, you want to finish this?
Sure.
And brush it on top of the crust. Just a thin coat. But adding egg wash to pastries, even puff pastry, ensures a golden crust. Look at that, it's perfect. Baby, it's cute. Just like you. Do we have a ton of filling left over?
Probably for one more.
One more? Do you want to make one more and then
Why not?
save it? Or well, we could eat these this weekend or give one to a friend.
Yeah. How about we do that?
If you have leftover crust, keep it and either freeze it or refrigerate it if you're going to use it soon. But don't throw it away. You can make a little mini pie one day when you have extra berries or ricotta cheese or something. You can make a dessert pie. There's so many options. None of this should go to waste, even if we made a little extra filling. Right, babe?
Yeah. Let me ask you, how long can this pie crust last in the fridge in case?
In the fridge, I would say about a week. In the freezer, months, as long as you seal it correctly.
Oh. Is that enough holes?
Plenty. I like to do mine in like a little star, but yours looks like a outlet to the wall. You know, like a plug, which is fine.
Which is fine.
What time is it? Are we doing good on time?
I have no idea.
I don't know. 7:51. It must be 6:51. That's good. We're about to stick them in the oven, and everyone should be eating by 7:30. That's not bad.
We're all excited.
All right, you guys. So Stuart and I are going to mute ourselves again because I don't know if you know this about Twitch. We can't listen to music or do anything. Plus, we're going to have to clean and stuff, so we won't really have much to talk about. But we are... Oh, he made a smiley face! Aw, is it for me?
Yeah.
Is this my pie?
Yeah.
I love it! It's perfect! She looks crazy, but I love it. Okay. So go ahead and brush your egg wash on top and put your pies in your oven for 30 to 40 minutes. So just check them in about 30 minutes. And you're just looking for a really golden, little puffy crust. Okay, you guys? If you have any questions, we're still going to be live, so you can chat us in the chat box. And we're going to get cleaning, and we're going to put our pies in the oven right now. So we all should be eating by 7:30, which is pretty good for homemade pie.
Yeah.
Right? In an hour and a half?
I believe so. So let me ask you, what if somebody had larger pies? I mean, it's the same time frame?
Oh, so yeah, it's the same time frame if you have a larger pie, and you would have just rolled out your crust and then kind of put your pie over it, or depending on how large, or you could do this whole thing with your you could take your pie crust, roll it out, put it on top of your rolling disc, lay it over the pie, and then you could cut the excess off.
If you're making a large pie.
If you're making a large pie. So you would roll out your dough the same way we did. You would place it on top of your pie. You would then cut off the extra crust. That's what you would do. Yeah. Good question. You're asking really good questions.
Thank you. And you know what? We forgot to do our intro.
We forgot to do our intro.
But we will have a pre-recorded intro. Maybe,
soon.
yeah.
We're working on it.
Hopefully next time you tune in, you'll see
Yes.
something pop up.
So we're learning the Twitch platform. We're trying to create I wanted to create a countdown. So once the pies were in the oven, you could see like this like countdown, like 30 minutes. But I couldn't get it to work. I love watching you guys. You're so much fun and great food. Thank you. And so we're just trying to learn Twitch. I want to create like a little like intro reel and then like we'll be right back, reel. But I'm not really into videography, so I'm gonna figure it out. And then there's one more thing I want to really do. Oh, for new followers, I want to create like a little welcome video so they can like get to know us. So that's something we're working on. So this is my leftover crust. I'm going to throw it in the freezer because I have already plans for this weekend for cooking, so I don't have time. But this takes so quick to thaw out. So whenever you want to just make like a little, you can make a hand pie with this where you do two sides and you stuff it with. We saw a recipe today and it had ricotta and lemon filling.
Ooh, yes.
So there's possibilities are endless. All right, you guys. We will be back in 30 minutes, but we'll stay live. If you have any questions, just ask us in the chat room. We are going to mute, and we are going to play some music and clean this kitchen because it's a mess. Bye. Okay. Hey, you guys.
Hold on, I still got the.
Okay, so see over there to the left, and it even says pies, whatever. You put that
eyeball.
on. Yeah. Yay. Okay. You guys, I'm gonna put. What are these called? I'm gonna put something on the board just because I don't want to ruin this beautiful board with hot little plates. Okay.
Yeah, I just made that, so.
Yeah, and it's freaking stunning, and it's huge. Look at these. OMG. Babe, you may need to grab a plate so we can take a good photo.
A good plate.
So I've got red, orange, blue, and gray dishes. So you need to pick one that like kind of goes in the dish.
That's fun.
Okay, let's do this. Oh my gosh, you guys! If you made this dish tonight, we really hope that you love it. But we also really hope that you go onto the internet and post and share that you've been cooking along with us. I know we've got quite a few people who really, I'm so tired, so good, who really cook along with us, and we just really appreciate it. Please encourage your friends and family to get on board. Of course, we'll take pictures. So, if you can't see your friends and family during this pandemic, at least you guys can eat the same meal, right? That's why we're doing this. Please let some people know. And it looks like we're going to be doing breakfast for dinner next week. So, tune in. I'll post the ingredients on Sunday that you'll need. Hey, Siri, stop. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. Tag us if you made it. And we appreciate you guys watching. I'm super impressed that we got this done in an hour and a half, to be honest.
Yes, thank you.
Like, if I'm cooking this alone, I think I could get this done a lot quicker. But, you know, I want to talk and everything like that. So, just thank you so much.
And then we should try it in a bit, right?
Yes, I'm so excited.
You know, I totally didn't even take any Instagram stuff.
Oh, you know what? I was even going to ask you to start doing reels so I can make a TikTok video. But, you know, It's hard. It's a lot harder than you think.
It is tough.
So next time, let's do that. But tomorrow I'm cooking, you know. Yeah. I am selling a few items here in Houston this weekend. I'm making almond cookies tomorrow with a strawberry filling. I'm making my favorite Caesar salad dressing. It is so good, but I can't give out the recipe because I just can't. That's something I hope to sell. There's one other thing. I'm making fresh bread and ricotta cheese. So tomorrow, I don't know if I'll go live. I may go live for the ricotta making, but I'm definitely going to start making a few more tutorial videos. Okay. The sound.
Oh, that's good. That's a good thickness on the crust.
Yeah. Oh, looks good. And the insides, it doesn't, you don't want it to be soupy, but you want it to be thick. That's the parsnip. It looks like a potato, but it's not.
Yeah. I might burn myself,
oh my God.
but I love hot food.
I really do that. I just went for it. I shouldn't have done that. Does it taste more fall-like with the butternut squash? Yeah, you may want to let this cool a little before you eat it. That crust is the perfect thickness. It's kind of like a biscuit, like a thin biscuit's on there.
I'm used to eating hot food, so I think it's good for me.
Are the veggies crunchy?
Oh, yeah.
Some of them. So.
Well, I tried the celery again. That was good. Now I got some carrots.
Not all the veggies are crunchy.
Yeah, I think,
which is kind of a good thing because then it would just be too.
I think once I dig deeper, it's going to be hotter.
Yeah, I'm going to wait because I already burnt the top of my mouth and I want to be able to taste my food. But look at that crust. Oh my God.
That egg wash that you put on it?
So good. Oh my gosh, so good. Did you get some good photos, you think?
I got another couple more.
No, I mean, we have more. Well, here, let's have it where you can see I'm just going to eat that part. That crust is so buttery. It tastes like a biscuit on top of it's really yummy. All right, you guys. I really hope you liked tonight's recipe. It is my own kind of recipe. And I just hope you guys liked it.
Look at me.
Here, do like one of those cheesy shots.
Oh, yeah, that's too quick. You gotta look up.
I want to look at the pie.
You gotta look at the camera. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and
I hope you guys enjoy.
hope yours is as good as ours. And I'm sure you even made better ones if you added some extra stuff on it.
All right. Thank you so much. Peace out, Girl Scouts.